right, so for today's practice, we are going to be playing around with bridge pose, and we're going to be doing a few different therapeutic shapes to see how that impacts our bridge pose and just kind of uncover what we notice. So you're going to need a massage ball and a small blanket. We're going to be rolling that up. So for now, you can just set those things off to the side, and you're going to come down onto your back. So just finding whatever is a comfortable place for you to be on your back. So you could have your knees bent like I do. You could also take your legs out long. And just starting to scan your body. So noticing what is showing up for you today. How do you feel? And letting there be, if possible, a little bit of space for curiosity. So can you notice what you are feeling in your body without jumping to, oh, that's good, oh, that's bad? Let the sensations be sensation. Now, that's a lot easier to say than it is to practice. We're really wired to look for danger. So we look for what feels like a more negative sensation, often a little bit easier. We kind of notice those little areas of tension a little bit more than we notice areas where we feel more relaxed and open. So just allowing yourself to scan your body, feel the sensations that you're feeling, and seeing if you can stay gentle and curious. And then once you have a good baseline of how you're feeling, we're just going to come up into a bridge pose. So I'm purposely not giving you much direction here. I just want you to lift your hips and lower them down and see what you notice. So how does this feel in your body? Once you have gotten a sense of how this feels, then you're going to come back down to the ground. And you're going to start to play with some weight transfers. So your right leg is going to start to float up towards tabletop and then lower back down. Now, as this leg lifts and lowers, can you keep your pelvis really level so that when the leg lifts, you're not arching your back or you're not tipping off to one side, but you're really keeping your pelvis level. And I just noticed that Brody Dog has joined us for this practice. So lifting and lowering while the rest of the pelvis stays really heavy. Now, oh, and Lila is joining us. Okay, good girl. Go lay down. Go lay down. So as you lift and lower, can you keep your pelvis level? If not, can you move a little bit less? So that might look like just lifting your heel and lowering, and that is completely okay. It might even be that when you start to lift your heel, your pelvis tips or twists. So just go to the place where you're keeping the quality of the movement. So we're not involving the rest of the body. The other thing that sometimes happens is we push into our left foot to kind of mimic stability as we lift that leg. So just be aware of that as well. And then you can go ahead and move to the other side. So focusing on letting the rest of the body be still. This is going to help us to coordinate the parts of our body to create more control and coordination, more stability, So it's not about getting the knee up to 90 or getting the foot to lift off of the floor. It's really about just moving well, retraining your system to move. Like for me today, if I try to take my left foot off of the floor, I'm going to start to push my back into the ground to do that. And I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm trying to, not what I'm trying to teach my body to do. In these practices, I'm really trying to reduce my compensatory strategies so that I can teach my body how to move with more control and more coordination and more ease. So that when I compensate outside of this, which I'm going to do, I'm definitely going to compensate outside of this. It's not a bad thing to compensate, but I want to have this practice really be dedicated to moving well and practicing that. Couple more here on the left. And even though my foot is not lifting off the ground today, let's see if I can get it at the end. Yeah, okay, at the end, now that I've kind of practiced a few really well, I'm able to get that lift. But even if I wasn't able to get that lift, what I was about to say was my upper body is feeling relaxed from that work. Okay, good. And then you're gonna come back down and you're gonna try out your bridge pose once again. And just notice what you notice. How does that feel? So for me, I'm feeling like I'm getting more height. I feel like there's less tension in my upper body. I feel like I have more range of motion with more ease. You might be noticing something completely different, and that's okay. Good. Okay, great. So from here, you're going to come onto one side. And maybe you take a few breaths on your side. And then you'll come all the way up. And you're going to find your blanket, which I'm totally going to... Okay, I'm going to leave Brody with my blanket. I'm going to use a yoga mat. But you can use a blanket. Or a yoga mat works as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll up your blanket or your yoga mat. I'm so that girl that can't disturb the dog when she's being cute on this tiny blanket. Okay, so you are going to roll up your blanket or your yoga mat. Now the yoga mat I'm using is one of those travel mats, so it's extremely thin. So it might look like I'm rolling it up quite a lot, but that's because it's really, really thin. You're looking for, I don't know, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches of height. So that it looks like this. You've got like a long strip, okay? And then you're gonna take that long strip and you're gonna lay on it. So this could be your blanket or your yoga mat. And you're gonna take the edge of that strip to about mid-back. And you're just gonna lay over it. And just lay. Let your shoulders kind of melt down. Notice what you feel here. If you get tension in your neck, if you're here and there's any little intuitive insight that this feels off or it doesn't feel good, or you're getting tension in your neck or your jaw, try making your roll a little bit smaller and starting there. And once you're here, you're just letting your kind of shoulders, the front of your chest melt open and tuning into your breath. Okay, and when you're ready, you'll just come on off of your blanket or your yoga mat, and you will come flat onto your back and just notice what you feel here. What's changed? What are you now aware of? When you're ready, find your bridge. Again, I'm feeling like I've got even more height, feels a lot more easeful. Feel like I'm getting some rotation of my rib cage around my arm bone. Feels good. Okay, great. Let's try one more. So again, coming on to one side and then making your way back up. You're gonna find your ball and you're just gonna take the ball underneath of your armpits. You could do this in seated, but if it doesn't feel good to be seated on the ground, you could sit in a chair. You could also stand up. And you are just kind of gently holding the ball underneath of your armpit. You could also move your arm around. I like the way that that kind of massages in that area for me. But you could also just be gently holding the ball. And you could be doing this from standing. My head's probably going to get cut off a little, but you could also be doing this in standing. Shoo, 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 shoo. Got all the animals with us today. Okay, so once you have had that under your armpit for a few seconds, switch on over to the other side. And let the breath be really easy. Okay, and then come back down onto your back. I let go. And come on up to your bridge pose. What do you notice? Now, you may have noticed that one of those in particular, so the de-weighting, we did some de-weighting. We did some laying over a blanket, and then we did some ball work under the armpit. You may notice that one of those really created the best change for your system. So if you want to go back to the one that you really liked and then try it again, you can. For me, it was actually the ball under the armpits that felt the best. It might have been the accumulation of all of them, but I'm feeling like this bridge pose feels the best for my system. But if you found that you kind of got better after some and then worse after some, you might go back and just play with the one that brought you the most change or the most ease or the most whatever the word is that you feel in your system. You know, I've had clients say before, like, this is my range of joy. And so it's like the range of motion where they feel joy, and that's just the way that they describe it. So whatever that word is for you, for me, it's often ease. Okay. And then just come back down onto your back when you're ready. Let's just take a moment here in gratitude for curiosity. You know, so easy to get caught up in trying to fix ourselves. And that can really get in the way of our healing process. when we can continue to practice curiosity, to really be present with what is in our body, that's when things will often start to shift. So just taking a moment in gratitude for our body as it is in this moment. You're welcome to spend a few more minutes here. My voice is going to trail off. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I'll see you in the next one.